never imagined I'd be pouring my heart out like this, spilling secrets into the void as if it could somehow fix the mess I've made. My name is Emily. I'm 28 now, and I call Michigan home, or at least I used to think of it that way before. Everything fell apart. Growing up in a sleepy suburb just outside Detroit, life always felt a bit too ordinary for my tastes. The kind of place where people mow their lawns on Saturdays, wave at neighbors they barely know, and dream small dreams that rarely extend beyond the next family barbecue. From a young age, I was hooked on the allure of something bigger. It started innocently enough watching TV shows about glamorous lives in big cities, flipping through magazines filled with airbrushed celebrities. But it really took off when social media entered the picture. By high school, I was curating my online persona. Like a pro, posting selfies with perfect filters, crafting captions that screamed confidence and adventure. Every like, every comment was a hit of dopamine, a tiny validation that I mattered in a world that otherwise felt suffocatingly average. My parents were solid. Hardworking folks, dad at a factory job, mom teaching elementary school. They encouraged me to pursue my dreams, but their version of dreaming was practical. Get a steady job, save for a house, find someone nice to settle down with. I nodded along, but inside I rebelled. I wanted fireworks, not fireplaces. After graduating from a local community college with a degree in communications that I barely used, I bounced between retail gigs and entry-level office work. Nothing stuck because nothing felt exciting enough. Instead, I poured my energy into my online presence. By my mid-20s, I had a modest following, nothing influencer level, but enough to make me feel like I was on the cusp of something special. I'd post about my weekend vibes at chain coffee shops, making them look like hidden gems, or share outfit of the day pics that screamed effortless chic. Even if they took hours to stage. Deep down though, I knew it was all a facade. The likes came from acquaintances and strangers, not from any real connection. I craved security, but not the boring kind my parents preached. I wanted a life that looked perfect from the outside, the kind that made others envious. That's when Ethan entered the picture, flipping my world in ways I never anticipated. We met 5 years ago at a low-key birthday gathering for a mutual friend in Arbor. It was one of those casual affairs, pizza boxes stacked on my kitchen counter, cheap beer and red Solo cups, laughter echoing off the walls of a cramped apartment. I showed up in my best, effortless outfit, ripped jeans, a crop top, and heels that were murder on my feet but killer for photos. I snapped a quick story post, celebrating good times with great people. Before diving into the crowd, Ethan was there, leaning against the wall with a quiet smile, nursing a drink like he had all the time in the world. He was 29 then, with that effortless handsomeness, dazzled brown hair, warm hazel eyes, and a build that suggested he hit the gym occasionally but didn't obsess over it. He worked as an accountant at a mid-sized firm downtown, crunching numbers all day in a cubicle that sounded as thrilling as watching paint dry. But there was something about him that drew me in. He wasn't trying to impress anyone, no loud stories or flashy gestures. When our eyes met across the room, he just nodded hello, like we were old friends. We ended up chatting by the snack table. "So, what's your story?" he asked, his voice steady and genuine. I launched into my usual spiel about my job in customer service, glossing over the tedium, my love for exploring new spots around town, mostly for the gram, and how I dreamed of turning my social media hobby into something more. He listened, really listened, nodding along without interrupting. When it was his turn, he kept it simple. I like keeping things steady. Work pays the bills, leaves time for the good stuff like hiking on weekends or just chilling with a book. It was refreshing. I dated guys before who were all bravado bragging about their startups or gym routines, promising the moon but delivering dust. Ethan was different. He made me laugh with dry wit, shared stories about his family without oversharing, and by the end of the night, we'd exchanged numbers. As I drove home, I felt a spark I hadn't expected. Maybe this grounded guy could balance out my chaos. Our first date was simple, coffee at a local diner followed by a walk through a nearby park. No fancy reservations, no pressure. We talked for hours about favorite movies. He loved classic comedies. I was all about rom-coms, childhood memories, his involved fishing trips with his dad. Mine were mall hangs with friends and dreams. He wanted stability and a family someday. I vaguely mentioned making an impact online. I posted a subtle story, a photo of our coffee cups with a heart emoji, but kept it low-key. For once, I didn't feel the need to broadcast every detail. Dates turned into weeks, then months. Ethan was consistent, the kind of guy who texted good morning without fail, remembered little things like my favorite ice cream flavor, and never played games. We'd binge-watch shows in my tiny apartment, laughing over popcorn spills. Or we'd drive out to small towns, poking into antique shops where I'd snap artsy photos while he humored me with patient smiles. He didn't mind my social media obsession. In fact, he found it endearing at first. "You're like a one-woman marketing team," he'd tease. What I loved most was his quiet confidence. He didn't need validation from crowds. His life was straightforward. Work, gym a few times a week, occasional beers with buddies. No drama, no ego trips. After the parade of flakes I dated, it felt like a lifeline. We became official after a couple of months, and of course, I announced it online. "Found my person, #couple goals." The comments flooded in, friends gushing, hearts and fire emojis galore. It fed my ego, making our relationship feel like a win. 2 years in, we got engaged. It wasn't a grand proposal, no flash mob or Eiffel Tower backdrop. Ethan took me to that same park from our first date, got down on one knee with a simple diamond ring he'd saved for, and said, "Emily, you make every day better. Will you marry me?" Tears stung my eyes. It was perfect in its simplicity. I said, "Yes." And we celebrated with takeout Chinese at home. The wedding was modest, a backyard ceremony at my parents' house in the suburbs, with about 50 guests. We couldn't afford a destination extravaganza, but we made it ours. String lights twinkling, homemade cupcakes, a playlist of our favorite songs. My family loved Ethan. He was polite, helped set up chairs without complaint, and chatted easily with everyone. "He's a keeper," my mom whispered during the reception. I beamed, posting snippets online. Us cutting the cake, our first dance under the stars. Captions like, "Forever starts now," racked up hundreds of likes. Honeymoon Phase? It was real. We moved into a cozy 2-bedroom apartment in a quiet neighborhood near Lansing, nothing fancy. But it had a balcony for morning coffees and enough space for my growing collection of thrifted decor. I kept my customer service job, fielding complaints over the phone while Ethan plugged away at his accounting gig. Bills got paid, we cooked simple meals together, pasta nights were a thing. And weekends meant lazy drives or Netflix marathons. At first, it felt romantic. I'd surprise him with homemade dinners. He'd bring home flowers just because. We'd take road trips to places like Traverse City, stopping at roadside stands for fresh cherries, laughing as we posed for silly selfies. I'd edit and post them weekend. Escapes with my love, soaking in the virtual applause. Friends commented how we seemed so in love, so balanced. It made me feel secure, like we'd cracked the code to happiness, but cracks started showing as the first year ticked by. Ethan's routine was unyielding. Home by 6, dinner, couch time with the remote. He'd scroll news on his phone or read a book, content in the quiet. Meanwhile, I'd doom scroll Instagram, bombarded by influencer couples jet-setting to Bali, unboxing luxury hauls or announcing brand deals. Their lives screamed excitement, yacht parties, designer clothes, endless adventures. Ours, it felt stagnant. I began dropping hints. "Hey, what if you talk to your boss about that senior position? It could mean more money for trips." He'd shrug, smile softly. "I'm good where I am, Em. No need to rock the boat." Or I'd suggest side hustles. "People make bank on Etsy or freelancing. Why not try?" His response, "Maybe later. Let's enjoy what we have now." Frustration brewed. It wasn't about money per se. I didn't expect overnight riches. But I wanted progress, momentum. Our life felt like a hamster wheel, work, home, repeat. I'd stage date nights at trendy spots, a new fusion cafe in downtown Detroit, where I'd insist on photos by the window for the lighting. Ethan went along, but I could tell he preferred our old diner haunts. "This place is overpriced," he'd mutter, but I'd wave it off. It's about the experience. Arguments crept in, small at first, over money. I wanted to splurge on a weekend getaway. He pointed to our savings goals. "Let's be realistic, Em." That word realistic grated on me like nails on a chalkboard. Realistic meant boring, settling. I'd retort, "Why can't we dream bigger?" He'd sigh, change the subject. Social media amplified it all. I'd see high school friends posting about promotions, new homes, exotic vacations. Envy gnawed at me. Look at Sarah and her husband, they just bought a boat. I'd show Ethan. He'd glance, say, good for them. We're doing fine. Fine, another word that drove me nuts. I wanted extraordinary. I poured my energy into my online world, curating our life to look idyllic. Filtered photos of us at parks, captions dripping with romance. Grateful for this man every day. In reality, tension simmered. I'd manipulate, subtly using affection as leverage. If he agreed to a fancy dinner, I'd be all hugs and kisses. If not, I'd go cold, retreating to my phone. We hung out with my friends Sarah, my bestie from college, and her crew. They were social media savvy, always documenting brunches or nights out. Ethan tagged along, polite but detached. They'd tease him, Mr. Laid Back over here. I'd laugh but inwardly agree. He wasn't fun enough, not the charismatic partner. I could flaunt. Then came that fateful night about a year ago at Sarah's apartment party in Grand Rapids. 10 of us, drinks flowing, music pulsing. We played a game. What's your biggest achievement in the last 3 years? Answers: varied promotions, engagements, marathons run. Ethan's turn. He thought, then said earnestly, marrying Emily. That's been the highlight for me. The room cooed. Ah, sweet. But I felt a pang embarrassment? Disappointment? Before I could stop myself, I quipped. Come on, is that really your only accomplishment? Marrying me? I laughed, trying to play it off as banter, but the edge was sharp. Silence fell. Eyes darted. Sarah chuckled awkwardly. Harsh, Em. Ethan forced a smile, but his eyes dimmed. The night dragged on. He withdrew, speaking minimally. Driving home, he was quiet. Finally, at a red light, do you really think that? That I'm nothing without you? Defensive, I snapped. It was a joke. Lighten up. But the damage was done. That night, he slept on the couch. The next days were tense. I busied myself online, posting party pics, cropping out the awkwardness. Fun. Times with the squad. Captions masked the rift. Ethan stopped the little gestures, no more surprise coffees, no memes texted during my shifts. Guilt flickered, but I shoved it down, telling myself he was overreacting. Friends weighed in. Sarah pulled me aside. That was kinda mean, Em. He looked hurt. Others dismissed it. Guys are sensitive. He'll forget. I clung to the latter, avoiding self-reflection. A week later, we talked or argued. You always push me to change, he said calmly. I'm not chasing fame or fortune. I like our life, I fired back. Our life? It's boring. You're content being average. Words escalated. Maybe you're the one obsessed with likes, not love. It stung because it rang true. Tension mounted. Good days cooking together, sharing laughs interspersed with bad ones, where I'd nitpick his ambition, he'd retreat. I'd go out with friends, posting girls' night out. Implying freedom, intimacy suffered. I'd withhold warmth as punishment, accusing him of neglect when he pulled away. One evening, his office party. I dressed up form-fitting dress, heels to impress. Ethan barely noticed, focused on colleagues. Driving home, I exploded. You don't appreciate me? He replied evenly, you do this for the camera, Em, not for us. That hit hard. Arguments intensified. I ranted about his complacency. He called out my superficiality. The breaking point, another fight over his career. You're holding us back. I yelled. Your biggest win is me, and you don't even value it. Hurt flashed in his eyes. I'm done fighting this. Days later, I packed a bag. I'm staying with Sarah. You don't want to grow, so why stay? I expected drama-begging promises. Instead, if that's what you need, go. Door slammed. I left, heart pounding with anger and odd triumph. At Sarah's, couch surfing felt temporary. I posted carefree. Self-care mode activated. But reality bit bills piled, funds dwindled from fun. Outings. Ethan didn't chase. A text. Miss you? His reply, miss the old you. Pride held. I vented to friends, painting him as the villain. Some agreed, others, you disrespected him first. Doubt crept. Life without him? Empty. Dates flopped. No one? Matched his steadiness, months passed. Ethan texted about my stuff. Visiting the apartment stirred memories, couch cuddles, kitchen dances. He was calm, resigned. I grabbed boxes, tears hidden, now alone in a sublet, regret swirl. I see my faults, ego, manipulation, chasing illusions. But pride lingers. He should have tried harder. I miss the simple love I shattered. Maybe I'll reach out, but for now, limbo.